how one photograph turned a bloody battle into the main symbol of American valor. Imagine, February 1945, the height of World War II. You're a U.S. Marine, and you're being landed on a tiny patch of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the island of Iwo Jima. In theory, this should be an easy stroll. The island is only 20 square kilometers, and American aircraft and ships have been bombarding it for months. Word is that the garrison is almost defeated, and the operation will be over in a couple of days. But as you step onto that black volcanic sand, you realize you've been brutally misled, because Iwo Jima turned out to be not just a fortress, it was an underground citadel, a hell on earth where every meter had to be taken by force. The Battle of Iwo Jima lasted from February 19 to March 26, 1945, and became one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific Theater. 100,000 U.S. Marines against 22,000 Japanese soldiers. It seemed like an overwhelming advantage. But the Japanese commander, General Tadamichi Kuribayashi, was no fool. He knew it was impossible to hold the coastline against such a force, so he chose cunning instead. Months before the invasion, the Japanese had turned the island into a real underground city. They dug kilometers of tunnels, built hundreds of concrete bunkers and pillboxes, connecting them with underground passages. Volcanic ash was mixed with cement to create super strong concrete. Artillery positions were carefully camouflaged, and Mount Suribachi itself was turned into an impregnable fortress. The official reason for the invasion sounded logical. The island was needed as an air base for bombing Japan and as an emergency landing strip for damaged B-29s. Later, it turned out that Iwo Jima's strategic value was questionable. Most bombers could make it back to their bases, and capturing the island didn't provide the expected advantages. But more on that later. The landing on February 19 immediately turned into a bloodbath. On the very first day, the Marines suffered 2,400 casualties, killed and wounded. Instead of meeting the Americans on the beach, the Japanese hid in their holes and opened hurricane fire from all directions. Every hill, every cave, every rock was fortified. The climax was the assault on Mount Suribachi, an extinct volcano that dominated the island. After 5 days of fierce fighting, on February 23, 1945, the U.S. Marines finally raised the American flag on its summit. First, a small banner went up. 2 hours later, it was replaced with a larger one. It was this second, larger flag that was photographed by war correspondent Joe Rosenthal. He wasn't even sure the shot had come out well, but the image instantly became a symbol of American grit and courage. It circled the globe, helped raise $26 billion for the war effort, and later served as the model for the famous Marine Corps Memorial in Washington, D.C. But behind that symbol lay a terrible price. The fighting on Iwo Jima continued for another full month after the flag was raised. The final losses are staggering. American losses, nearly 7,000 killed and over 20,000 wounded. The overall casualty rate among Marines reached 56%. Japanese losses. Out of 21,000 defenders, only about 200 survived. The rest perished in combat or took their own lives, following the Bushido Code. And here's the paradox. This bloodbath was, in essence, unnecessary. Historian Robert Burrell concluded that Iwo Jima was useful for American bombing, but hardly worth the blood that was paid for it. The island never became a key base, and its strategic importance was questionable at best. Iwo Jima is a tragic example of how a powerful symbol can overshadow harsh reality. The courage and sacrifice of the Marines are beyond doubt, but those lives were given for a goal that was at best controversial from a military standpoint. This battle became a symbol of American valor, but it also remains a reminder of how costly poor planning and underestimating an enemy can be, and that sometimes the most famous victory is the one that should never have been fought.
defenses on the ridges overlooking this plain. Draw a bead on us again. They chased us off there 5 times. We came back 6. Our tanks come ashore and grind inland. We were able to advance from Yellow Beach, but it's slow going. We run into trouble on Green Beach. From their fortified positions on Mount Suribachi, the Japs look right down our throats. every rock. It was tough going. Many didn't make it. Artillery duel develops at night. One of our ammunition dumps goes up. 2 weeks, we've cleaned up plenty of chaps that were here in Karabachi. But there's still a lot of islands to be taken. Thousands of chaps fighting from blockhouses, pillboxes, and caves. We have to go in and dig them out, one by one. When we can't dig them out, we burn them out. Artillery duel develops at night. It's only a small part of the cost of 26 days of fighting. Beautiful queen. There were other names too. Names of our friends. Stack the helmets of our dead in each pile. Helmets of 4,000 men who died today in tiny islands somewhere in the Pacific.
You're right, Marine. You've taken a tiny island. But it's not just 8 square miles of rock. Today, it's an American fortress only 4 hours from Tokyo. Today, from your little island, giant striking forces are launched against the heart of Japan. Today, our planes and ships are blasting the enemy into ashes at the foot of Fujiyama.
With confidence in our armed forces,
with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.